1, 2, 1, 2, 3. How's it going? One of the questions I get the most as a Dobro teacher is, how do I deal with minor keys? Or how do I deal with minor chords? Well, minor keys are kind of tricky for Dobro players because we're tuned to a major key. And we get kind of used to being able to, if I was in D major and I put the bar on the 7th fret and I played whatever string I happened to play, they're all pretty good. They're all in D major. Now this song, St. James Infirmary, is in D minor. So now we have to play in D minor. Now, first of all, the main thing that makes minor different from major is that the thirds are flattened. So this D major chord, the 2nd string and the 5th string are the major thirds. So in minor, they're on the 6th fret instead. So my chord, my D minor chord would be like that. The D major chord is all on the 7th fret. Major, minor. What makes this tricky is now we're moving the bar around for our individual notes. We have to be very careful to play clean. If we have extra noise ringing out when we get back to the 7th fret, a lot of times that extra noise is going to involve the 2nd string or the 5th string, which are the major thirds, and then you have this totally wrong note ringing out when you get back to the 7th fret. So blocking becomes critical, and the precision of your playing becomes critical. You can't just play the wrong string and get away with it. Oftentimes in a major key, you might miss and hit the wrong string. It doesn't sound horrible. In a minor key, those little mistakes are going to bite you. So more than anything, when you're playing in a minor key, you have to be precise with everything you do. I'll show you a little bit. So what I'm going to do is kind of bust this up into 3 little topics. So in this video, I'm just talking about kind of playing the melody. So you're learning the tablature. Okay, so we're learning the tablature, and we have the D minor. It's in the D minor scale. I'm going to look at kind of the second part. Right there. So I played that and I blocked it nice and clean. You notice I'm moving all over the place. So if I don't have decent blocking technique, when I get to this last note, I bet you we're going to get a major third ringing in. So I'm going to try this with no blocking. So you hear those thirds kind of coming in and those extra notes coming in. I'm going to do that one more time. That just doesn't sound right. Now if I block, everything's hunky-dory, everything's fine. So it becomes really critical. I'm playing a single note melody here. All I really have to do is make sure that I only get one note every time I play a note, and I'm not getting extra notes and extra noise. How you do that is up to you. I'm a big pick blocker. That's how I accomplish that. And this is tricky to get a single note clean when you're going up the neck here around the 7th fret. We're floating now. Down here, it's maybe a little bit easier. We typically have this angle bar technique, and some of you might use the angle bar technique up here. I don't. I have the bar flat, but that is another way to do it. It's a little more jumping around than what I want to do. But it can be done, and if you've developed that technique, the main thing is that you just want to be precise and get one note at a time, and don't get extra ringing out. If you do that, you're going to be able to play through this tablature and this melody fine. You're playing in a minor key, it's fine. It's not that hard. The main thing, you need to single out notes and get them to sound out clean without the extra noise. That's the main thing here. I'm going to do a couple more videos because we want complete knowledge of how to handle minor keys. So the next video, we're gonna kind of build a pad part. We're gonna play backup, and I think that's important to do. And then in the next video, we're gonna talk a little bit about the scales and the different types of minor scales, so that you can improvise over it. That's how I want you to actually approach any of these method songs. To me, you can learn the tablature. That's going to teach you something. But it's not really a complete knowledge of the song until you can play through the chords, play a backup part, and then improvise a lead, understand how to improvise over it. So I like people to learn that on all of these songs. And so for dealing with minor chords, minor keys, if you can play this melody clean, and then you can play through the chord progression and handle those D minor chords, and then you can improvise using your D minor scales and variants of the D minor scales. Think about how much you've learned with this one lesson. You've learned a lot. So do all of these things, and you're going to be moving forward with dealing with minor keys. And we will see you then in the next one where we build a pad part. All right, see you then. All right, so now we have the melody sounding pretty good, and the main thing there was to just play clean. Now I want to figure out how to play backup in a minor key. So the one thing to start with is knowing how to handle the minor chords. Now the only minor chord in this song is the D minor. And I'm going to play it several different ways, which is going to open up some options for my pad part. First way, to play on the 7th fret and just avoid the 2nd string and the 5th string. And I could even use, like on the 2nd string here, if I go back to the 6th fret, that's the minor 3rd, and then I can kind of get back. So that's kind of a nice way to add a little movement. Keeping in mind here that when I'm doing like a Dobro pad part, I'm not strumming chords. I am not trying to make a rhythm guitar part. That is critical. What I'm trying to do is play some backup. I'm not strumming. I'm okay with some sustain. I might add some rhythmic punch here and there, but the main thing is that I'm making a Dobro part. I'm not making a rhythm guitar part. If you're going to add the minor 3rd there, once again becomes very critical that you play clean. If I do that and I don't block, you start to hear the major 3rd when you come back. You hear a bunch of wrong notes when you're down on the 6th fret. If you do it clean, so once again, playing in the minor key, we just have to be very clean about everything we do. Very intentional and very clean. All right, so that's one place that's nice for the D minor chord. There's also one, and if you want a review on how to handle minor chords, there's a section in Dobro 101, Scales and Chords. Goes through how to play all the different chords. So you can review that there. One of the things you learn there is you can go 4 frets this way, from your home bass, play the top 2 strings, or a variant of that. So right there, that's a D and an F. That's a nice D minor chord, and 2nd string and 4th string might be a nice option too. 4th and 5th, if you really want to get ambitious, that's fine too. I'm probably going to use this one or this one. I think that's kind of neat because the other chords that I have in this song are G, A7, and B flat 7. I'm going to use major chords for those. You can substitute. You can learn that in the Dobro 101 course too. So having the G, A, and B flat be the other chords, it's kind of nice to have some D minor options that are in this area. Right there, that fits the bill. Another one that's kind of an exception, this won't be in the Dobro 101 course. This open D chord that I like a lot in D major actually doesn't have the 3rd in it. It's just actually the same notes as this. 1, 5, 1. So open D string to the A note on the 3rd string and open. That's going to function as a minor because it has no 3rd. All right, now I have 3 options. 1 option, 2 options, 3 options. Cool. 4th option is going to be on the 10th fret. Strings 2 and 3. I'm not going to use that quite yet, but we may try it at the end here. See what we come up with. All right. My G chord, I'm going to play here. My A chord, A7, I'm going to play here. I'm not going to worry about trying to get the 7th on those. B flat, I'm going to play here. And then I'm going to use these different positions of the D minor to see if I can build a part. Remember, I'm not trying to build. I'm not a rhythm guitarist. I'm a dobro player. So I'm going to play it like 2, 3s, like D minor, A, D minor, D minor, B flat, A, that worked. D minor, A, D minor, G, B flat, A, D minor. I'm going to do that a couple times, and I'm going to try some different situations for the D minors. That makes sense. We're being really careful and precise on our minor chords. And we've built a really nice flowing part. I'm going to try one other thing, and there is this D minor we didn't even use. What a shame. If I'm using this D minor, it's probably because I want to go up the neck and do something higher. So maybe you've got a lot of low-end stuff going on in your mix, and you would like to contribute something in the pad land up the neck. Well, maybe this chord will become useful. So one problem with this position is that's the position that doesn't involve the root. There's no D note there. So kind of when I'm playing by myself, it doesn't really sound like a D minor chord until you have a bassist playing the root. So that might sound better with the practice track than it does by itself. But it did have some cool things, especially at the end of the progression. When I went from here to the G, I like that. And then that position, I went all the way to the low strings there. Now we've built a nice pad part. We're dealing with these minor chords, and I'll tell you what, you get slick with this stuff. People will start asking you what tuning you're using. What tuning are you using? G major. So we've got a lot of ways to deal with these minor chords now, and we built a pad part. Next, we are going to talk about improvising over this and the scales involved. There are a couple of different varieties of minor scales, so it's not as straightforward as the major world. And we're going to talk about that next. So in the next video, we'll start improvising over this. All right, we'll see you then. All right, so now we can play a nice pad part and we can play the melody. It's a good place to start, but we want to do some improvisation. So how do we improvise in a minor key? Well, first of all, we need the minor scale. We're going to look at the D natural minor scale first. I say natural minor, this is a little confusing. The minor scales, there's not just one. There's different versions of it, so it's not as clear cut. Here's the natural minor scale, which I think of as being like the major scale, but with a flat third, that makes it minor, and then flat sixth and a flat seventh. Some people would say, well, it's like the F major scale starting on D. It's totally true. If I think of it like that, my head explodes. So I just think of it as 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. There it is. I'm going to play it again. 1, 2. And I'm going to write it down for you. I'm going to add it to the reference section in Dobro 101 too. It's going to be written down right here. That's the natural minor. Now this song occasionally dips into the harmonic minor. Same thing, except we're going to have the regular major seventh instead of the flat seventh. And it gives it that kind of klezmer vibe, cool gypsy flavor. That's the major seventh. You have a big jump between the flat sixth and the major seventh. It's kind of a cool sound. So whenever I learn a new scale, I want to spend a little bit of time kind of noodling and not just play the scale from top to bottom and back. Do that a few times, but then start to rearrange the notes and turn these new words into sentences and musical thoughts. So I want to noodle a little bit. I'll do the natural minor first. Of course, I've done this before. It's not the first time I've explored minor. Okay, so then I go to, like, say, the harmonic minor, and what's different? That's kind of cool. Cool. The harmonic minor makes sense when we have an A7 chord in this case. It's very common in a minor key to have the 5 chords be dominant chords, like A7, where the natural minor scale has a C note in it, that A7 has a C sharp note in it. So that's why that 7th gets moved up to the major 7th over the 5 chords. So that's really the appropriate place for that harmonic minor scale versus the natural minor scale. Of course, there's only one note that's different. So you don't really have to like reset your whole thought. You just, the scale's just a little bendy. You just have a different option for that 7th note over the A chords. The G major scale, or the G major chord in this song actually creates a little bit of confusion too, but we're just going to use our ear and get through that. Sometimes you just got to listen and use your ear. So in general, I'll show you how I'm kind of like hearing this. Natural minor, he went down to the St. James Infirmary. Natural minor's fine there. Right here, that note right there, that's that harmonic minor note. So at the end of that phrase is the A7 chord. It's a nice place for that harmonic flavor, harmonic minor flavor. And then he went right here is the next place. And that's about it. So that's how I'm going to view this as an improvisation. I'm thinking natural minor, except those couple of places where I'm going to kind of maybe sneak in that note. Now, I don't want to do that every single time that chord comes around or it becomes very predictable. So sometimes it's okay to just kind of keep your thought going and don't freak out about trying to sneak in the correct note at the right spot. If you got a good thought going, just keep it going. I'm going to get my play along track going and see what I can do. So here's an attempt at an improvisation, St. James Infirmary.
1, 2,
see what I got.
1, 2, 3.
There it is, that harmonic. Right there. Again. Make any sense? So that this 7th note moving around actually makes sense in the context of this song, because we have these A chords kind of coming in and going away, and so the natural minor works most of the time, but you can kind of sneak in these cool major 7ths to add that flavor and play over the changes real nice. So now we're improvising in a minor key. One of the things you're going to notice again is recurring theme about playing in minor is I cannot afford to be sloppy. If I'm playing sloppy in the minor key and I get back to the 7th fret, and we end up with ha! That's not going to sound nice over those minor chords. So we have to be very careful to play nice and clean and get only the notes we really want to get. That's the biggest thing about playing in a minor key. All right, have fun with this. Now you've got the melody, you've got the pads, you're improvising over it, you're handling the minor keys. Great job. We'll see you down the road.